Hey, John. So we have John, Melissa. Was Bob on? Did he get on?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes,
we're
Bob did get on.
Okay, so let me turn this on and see if it's.
all right. We're gonna try to queue up the system now and see if we can get it to work.
Anytime you're ready.
Oh, okay. So we're good to go now to begin.
Awesome. Let's do it then. All right, we'll call this meeting of the Board of Commissioners to order on April 6, 2020 at 10 a.m.
All right.
And with that, who do we have? Let's get, for the record, who we have on the phone. Melissa Cribbins, Coos County Commissioner.
Bob Main, Commissioner.
John Sweet, you there?
I'm here.
Yeah.
And just to let you know, in the room here, if you want to know,
Please.
we obviously Bobby Brooks, me, Anthony Pope, our new hire as Assistant County Counsel. Caroline is here. Megan is here. Charity's here. Sheriff is here. Captain Fabrizio is here, and I'm Kathleen from Emergency Management is here as well.
Great. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and get started. Do you want to talk about your list?
I do, yes. And I keep thinking about that YouTube video on conference calls as we're doing this. So we'll try to all talk at the same time at least 8 times before this meeting is over. So first on the list.
Bingo sheet next.
Yeah, there we go.
That's one.
Yeah. First on the list is were some questions about the county's Emergency Operations Center, EOC, and how that should operate in light of filling out forms for potential reimbursement. Melissa, you want to take that away?
Me?
Yeah,
No.
you. I don't know anything about it.
Well, Megan and I and Kathy Cooley had some discussion via email about this and who would be tracking the time for the employees at the county, in admin. I think where we're at is just a question of whether or not, if Coos Health and Wellness says that if they can have the reimbursement for the time spent tracking our time. Megan, tell me if I've got the question wrong.
I think that's pretty much it. And it just matters if we activate our own emergency operations center versus using health and wellness.
At this point for me, especially with the fact that they've just formed a joint command with Berea Hospital and, all the medical providers in the area, to me what makes sense is just for us to continue to send our information to them and let them have the reimbursement for the time tracking. But I don't know how everybody else feels. And I would especially be interested in, the sheriff and Captain Fabrizio's opinion on this and whether they think it's warranted to stand up our own emergency operations center at this point.
I don't think so. I think it would be redundant effort. If there was something we could do that was in addition or supportive of what health and wellness is doing, it might be worthwhile, but standing up our own EOC, we'd just be trying to do the same thing that they're going to do.
Thank you. Commissioner?
Let me get this straight. Go ahead, Bob.
They would get reimbursed for tracking all county employees from FEMA. I was confused a little bit by item C, which said that the county would reimburse, or proposed the county would reimburse. They mean FEMA?
I think that was You can correct me. I think that was one question. Did the county want to just reimburse them directly for that or allow them to get the FEMA reimbursement?
I would be in favor of the FEMA reimbursement.
There may be
That would
some,
make sense, that would make sense to me, as long as they are willing to accept that.
The way it was posed was as a question, we will need to either charge the county for this time or be the ones that get reimbursed should any reimbursement materialize.
I like
And that's the direction I'm leaning to. I don't know that the county has extra funds to
We don't.
reimburse.
I'm
Megan?
not aware of any extra funds.
I'm pretty sure Megan would agree.
Yes, I would agree that if there is a reimbursement to be had, that it could just go to them, rather than the county reimbursing them.
Okay. So the first question was, is the county planning on standing up its own EOC at some point, or is the CHW EOC in charge of the entire county response? And what I heard from Captain Fabrizio, and I think this is my position too, is that things could dramatically change at some point in the future to where it becomes necessary, or whether there's some benefit to standing up the county's EOC, but at this point, there's no obvious benefit to creating another redundant system. Do you guys agree?
I
I
absolutely.
would, yeah, I would agree. This is Bob.
Okay. So then that kind of negates number two, which was the question, if the county's planning on standing up its own EOC, then it seems like the position should be filled now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we just leave that one alone. So then number three, we're fine with allowing them to collect any reimbursement they get from FEMA for tracking, for their administrative costs and tracking our time, correct?
Right, yes.
Correct.
Okay, good. Well, that was everything we had on that one, I'm pretty sure, unless there was something else in that.
no. So that brings us to number two, which is the question of requiring and or encouraging employees, the whole issue.
Just to solid waste,
Okay.
just to solid waste, not to everyone. Yeah. Most
I would
of
love it if
them-
we could talk about it more generally. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, no, we should talk about it more generally, in a broader perspective than with solid waste. I think it was the CDC that altered their guidance where they were initially saying, don't wear it unless you're sick, and now they're encouraging people to wear them. So it has changed a little bit.
Right, and what we heard this morning, or John, do you want to summarize the discussion this morning in our call?
No, go right ahead.
The topic of masks came up this morning in our call, and Brian from Coos Health and Wellness said that Oregon Health Authority came out almost immediately after the CDC recommendation and, back solid waste, because if he's feeling unsafe out there, that's an issue that needs to be addressed. So the rest of our employees, so we have the question.
Extremely short supply unless you go down to buy a bunch of cloth and, tie it around like a bandana around your face, I guess, as a mask man or something. But just remember they have to change it quite often, because if they're doing any work at all, instead of just sitting still, that mask is going to be saturated with moisture, and then it's no longer effective.
I think that is.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was going to say, I think that is the big problem. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're short on supplies, and we're not getting them readily either from the state or from the federal government. As you know, we're out here in a little outpost on our own, and we're having a hard time obtaining that equipment. Fortunately, we have some because they were ordered before this event started, but trying to get additional masks and those type of things has become very difficult.
And I think Anthony's concern is also touching money and people's credit cards. That's solid waste.
Yes, and I
Yeah,
believe
for-
that John has.
We have gloves out there to help prevent contamination from that. He's wearing gloves.
So, yeah, the gloves are okay, but they don't really prevent the spread. If they could maybe sanitize with hand sanitizer on the money and the credit card, that would help a lot. And while they have the gloves on, do the hand sanitizer on the gloves.
Yeah, I don't know how you. How do you sanitize the money people are handling?
Well, you buy what is commonly known as Everclear, by the quart or whatever. Put it in.
Back to the liquor store.
Yeah. And you dump the change and the paper money in that, and then after about 15, 20 minutes, you pull it out and let it dry out. It should be totally sanitized.
But Bob, the customers are handing them dirty money.
Yeah, I understand that. That dirty money goes in the 95% alcohol, and then whatever they have on hand to start with, which they would need some more money to start with, they could hand back, and after a short period of time, the money that comes from the clients that are handing money to the booth, they could fish that out with a pair of tongs, let it dry, and they could use that hand back.
Well, I wonder what banks are doing.
I know that Umpqua down here, I don't know about sanitizing money, but they're only allowing 2 people in the bank at any one time. I can ask.
This is the sheriff. Many of the banks have their employees wearing gloves while handling money and changing them frequently.
Just a quick reminder. Oh, go ahead, John.
We're just wearing. Our gate people are wearing gloves and changing them. I know it's kind of windy out there. We'd have money all over Hell's Half Acre if we were drying it.
In the booth?
Well, the door's open all the time to come and go.
Yeah, I know, but
Maybe you could buy some clothespins and a couple clotheslines. You could pin up all the money.
I was just visualizing that. Can you microwave it? Or
Yeah.
something?
No microwaving, no.
Don't.
But see,
I
when
would-
you have gloves on, every time you handle somebody's money and you put it in the cash register, and then when you give cash back, and then the next person comes through, if you don't sanitize the glove, you're transferring everything back and forth all the time. It has to be every time you come in contact with some money or credit card that you haven't previously handled, then becomes a contact for transfer.
I'm really hesitant to say this in light of the discussion that we're having, but I just wanted to remind everybody to get close to the microphones when they talk, because we are streaming these meetings now, and we want to make sure that people can hear all of these discussions.
Yeah, and just to sort of summarize here, it sounds to me like on the general topic of keeping people safe and wearing masks at work, we don't have the resources to provide everybody with masks. It sounds like there's a few particular positions that we're going to work on providing them with extra masks, hopefully, and sanitation supplies as they deal with the public. Everyone else who's in their office who's supposed to be maintaining social distancing anyways they can wear a mask to work if they want to. And, maybe we could encourage it and just put something out saying, here's the new guidance on it if everybody wants to, but so I'd be curious on that.
I'm fine with that. But I think we have to make it clear that we're not going to be able to provide masks for everyone simply because we can't get them. And even if we could, we probably couldn't afford it.
Oh, well, I think that if anything was sent out to employees, it would just be a sort of a PSA, maybe from Coos Health and Wellness, saying, here's the guidance on masks, so we wouldn't even be bringing up whatsoever the idea of buying masks for everyone.
Okay.
I wouldn't even want to say we're not, because that puts the idea in that maybe we should be.
So I just looked up the OHA guidance. I think we should think about just sending that out because there's a section on public settings. And it's actually specifically about homemade masks.
Melissa, this is Charity. Mike and I were going to be sending out a safety message from the EOC team this afternoon about the masks and the hand washing and all of that again. And while we were on our meeting this morning, I did get a request from the juvenile department for his employees that are still having to go into court, requesting masks from me, but I don't have any, and sounds like they would have to be sewn if we were to provide those.
Yes. And so, Charity, I will send you this guidance right now, and maybe you want to send it back to Brian right away so you're being responsive to his request.
Okay.
Apparently,
what it
some of the
essentially says is there are many ways to protect yourself that are far more effective than the use of cloth-based coverings.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
apparently some of the crew are coming in close contact with each other on the road department when they have to transfer vehicles or take a piece of equipment out and then get transferred in the same pickup truck, et cetera.
I have not gotten any complaints about that. Jessica did ask me about some places to get sanitizer and things like that. Kathy Cooley sent me a bleach solution that they have been using, and so I forwarded that on to Jessica because they're having, she said that they're trying to limit people to certain vehicles, but that one area that they do have a concern is truck drivers getting in and out of a loader. There's about 9 people that would get in and out, and so with it constantly being cleaned, they are running out of supplies. But I think with a bleach solution, whenever someone gets out, they can just bleach it down really quick, and then the next person would be good to go in there.
All right, so have we exhausted the topic of face masks at work?
Oh, I feel like there's always more to say about it.
Well, that is true.
I think it's enough for today.
Fair enough. Okay, so number 3 brought up to me. We discussed this on Friday, but I think there were some additional communications on the topic, and it was forwarded to me as for discussion, which is the enforcement of short-term lodging rules that we made. And I know the last time we discussed it, we talked about environmental health at Coos Health and Wellness, sort of taking the lead in fielding complaints and responding to those. So, and I believe it was Bob who messaged me on this topic.
Yes, I received an email from a concerned citizen on Beach Loop just outside the city limits of Bandon about multiple people from out of state residing at vacation rental homes. And that person was very concerned. Apparently there were at least 2 vacation rental homes where multiple cars were at these residences, vacation rentals, call them, from out of state. And they thought that that was shut down unless it was an emergency, which I wouldn't think it would be emergency if you had multiple vehicles from out of state at one home. So I don't know who's going to enforce that.
Did you forward that to Rick Hallmark at Environmental Health?
I sent it to you as an FYI and FYI to John and Melissa. I believe I saw an email string to the mayor of Bandon, and that's all I know.
Yeah, so I think the first step would be, and I can send it on, which would be,
Okay.
they can look into it and determine who it might be and then reach out. And their first step is, if there is something going on, will be just saying, come into compliance. And then if not, it's a violation to go
How
against.
long do they have to come into compliance? Because I don't know that we put any parameters on that.
We did.
We
They should
said-
already be in compliance. That's just typically the first step in code enforcement, is saying, will you do what we want you to do? And if they say no, then it escalates from there.
Yeah, but how long do we give them to say yes or no?
I don't know.
That was my question.
Bob, this is John.
Yeah? Yeah.
I think I sent you back a response, and I know I sent it to Mary Shamahorn, Mayor of Bandon. Can you get some information from the person who complained about what the address of the
Sure, I can do
is?
that.
I mean,
I'll
otherwise,
send
I
it
don't
on.
know. As soon as we get that, I said I sent it on to Rick, but I haven't heard anything, and I don't know. You know, you got lopshoot trying to figure out who it is down in that neck.
Right. I'll get a hold of that person and then send it to Nat. He can send it to Rick.
Perfect.
As soon as we have another phone conference at 11, but as soon as I can.
Sure.
Works for me.
Now, a little bit more though on short-term stay enforcement.
Could you speak up just a little bit, John?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Is that working better?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. On Friday, I expressed some concern about whether environmental health could handle all the possible complaints, and that's for sure who we wanted to send it to. I don't know what the alternatives would be. Have we heard anything back from environmental health on that matter?
No. And I don't know what the volume will be. And they're going to have to prioritize how they deal with it, but you know,
So in the
there's a lot on
meantime-
their table right now.
Yeah. In the meantime, environmental health is Roger Craddock of Coos Bay wanted to know to whom reports of violations should be sent, and we talked about that, and I think our initial reaction was environmental health, but we want to make sure they could handle it. Just try it until they can handle it.
Well, and I think, like with anything else, as far as code enforcement in the county is concerned, and this is just my perspective, which is that I think they are the appropriate person to handle it. But, you know, if they get a certain level of complaints, they're going to prioritize what they respond to. Similarly to, we have rules for development and things like that, and code enforcement, and we end up having to prioritize how we respond to those complaints too. So I don't know who else would do it.
One other question on that matter. When I got the email from the mayor of Bandon, I asked if it'd be possible for their city police to respond, because I suspect there's a lot of vacation rentals in the Bandon area outside of the city limits. And if they wanted an immediate response, maybe they could help. And Sheriff, is that okay to ask for that?
I was out of the room on a phone call. What was the background?
Oh, shoot, I got the phone. I just had, let me get rid of that. Oh, heck with it. I had heard from the mayor of Bandon, and she was anxious to get this particular vacation rental situation taken care of quickly. And I said we might need some help from your own police force taking care of these types of incidents in the abandoned area. Can you do that? And I said, I'll check with the sheriff to make sure that that's okay. So I guess that's what I'm doing.
We work great with Coos, abandoned police department. I don't think that's a real issue. If there's an issue, Chief Webb will contact me. We have good communications and operations.
Okay, good. I thought I might make that suggestion to the other cities as well.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Just for clarification, though, there is a way of forcing those evictions, but it has to be routed through the health department, through the DA's office, and then to the courts.
Okay.
And that requires a court order.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I think that concludes section 3, enforcement of vacation rental rules. The next thing I have on my list here is an issue that we discussed on Friday but did not come to a resolution on, and it was tabled. So to put back on the table the potential closure of the county road leading to Bassendorf Beach. I don't know if there's any additional information that would lead to a resolution of that, but if so, we can discuss that now.
This is John again. I talked to the BLM district manager who had asked us to close the road and asked if there was any compromised position that would allow county citizens, or we couldn't restrict to that, to park outside of the BLM area, and so that they could still have access to the beach. He said he would check that with his people, but it would probably not he couldn't do that until this afternoon. Yesterday I drove out to Bassendorf Beach. There were quite a few cars, but it wasn't overwhelming in that area. So I didn't see a huge real problem, but it goes back to what the sheriff says. If we're going to do this, we're going to shut them down. We need to be pretty universal in what we do, and so I don't know we need a decision today, but I'm more and more in favor of doing it, in spite of the fact that will preclude a lot of people going to the beach, which I think is a nice thing to be able to do.
So, I guess I need this one more time. Why do we want to discourage people from being at the beach?
I think it is just it sends the message that things are closed down. I think if it's possible, as soon as more people find out that that's probably the only convenient access to the beaches left in this part of the county, that we could expect the problem to get worse, not better, even though it wasn't bad yesterday.
And I've talked to several people. I mentioned this to a North Bend city councilor who went out and looked. I've mentioned it to the Visitors and Conventions Bureau. They went out and looked on Saturday and Sunday. And it did say, yes, this is the only beach that's accessible. But I guess I'm really hesitant, if we're not seeing a lot of out-of-state plates, to shut down access to this beach. Because I really am concerned about the mental health issues that we're going to be seeing more and more of in people.
I think there is an area we could have a turnaround down there. We need to look at it closely. It appeared to me that on the south end of what used to be, what is, I guess, the BLM area, there's a fairly broad parking area, and that if people didn't park in it, it could be used as a turnaround for larger vehicles that get down there. Otherwise, it'd be pretty hard to turn a RV around. You could turn your car around easily.
I'm fine with discouraging RVs. We could put up a sign that says, passenger vehicles only. I mean, they may still go down there, God knows.
I guess if we're going to try to keep it open, what I would suggest is that we have completely block the road. So on the south end, just at the south boundary of the BLM former camping site, so that people could not drive through there from the south, and on the north end, find another place. I'm not sure quite where that would be, perhaps up the hill a ways, so that people can't come in and drive through and use the BLM campground itself, but could still have access to the parking strip along the creek at the south end of the old BLM campground, which I think might be out of their campground area. I know it's out of their campground area. I don't know what the land ownership is.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with even just delegating to the road department to go out there and figure out where the best spots are to block it in order to prevent access to the BLM.
That would be my thought, perhaps in conjunction with the sheriff, who will be responsible probably for traffic control ultimately.
Fine with me. Bob?
That sounds good.
Okay. Well, I'll convey that to the BLM people then. So, good.
All right.
I
So,
was just going to tell Nat that we should post this on Wednesdays. No.
yeah. Well, we'll need an update. So,
Yeah.
I'll put it on. So the next one that takes it to the end of the list I sent out. John Sweet sent me an additional topic, which was, and John, you're going to have to explain this, but it was planning for extended social distancing time period. Take it away.
Yeah, I didn't even know exactly what I'm asking for myself, but I really think that this will not be over at the end of April or the end of May. It could carry on for a long time to come. Even if we're able to flatten the curve, people are still going to be getting sick. If we loosen up social distancing recommendations, I could see this thing starting up again. To me, the only way we can assure that won't happen is being sure that everyone is inoculated against the virus. And of course, there is no inoculation available for that yet. So that could be a long time to come. And I may be, my thinking might be a little too gloomy here, but more and more I'm thinking we're not going to have a fair this year. We will probably not have much revenue at our county parks. School may not open next fall. Lots of things could happen, and I just like our department heads and our staff to be thinking of that. We may have to take some very, very strenuous measures to protect our cash position. Is that gloomy enough?
Yeah, it was pretty gloomy, John. To be fair, but I mean, point taken as far as if revenue is being lost, then continues to be. I don't know if we're in the position to accurately predict what that will be and for how long it will go on for. So.
No, I don't either. But I don't think, on the other hand, we can just go on thinking that everything's going to be okay here in a month or 2 months or even 3 months. Because I'm not sure it will be.
Well, John, it appears that no one else wants to go down this gloomy
No. Oh, that's
this gloomy road
that's
right
fine.
now.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I mean, I'm not asking that we do anything today. I think it should be on our minds. That's all.
Right. And I appreciate the thought. I think we want to make it clear that we are not at this time canceling the fair or closing parks for the whole summer. These are just things that you're asking us to be mindful of.
That is absolutely right.
Yeah, this is Bob. I think John's probably correct. That what I'm thinking more of is all the people who have already lost their jobs. How are they going to survive? I mean, out there in the restaurant folks and everybody else that's affected, they're suddenly without a job. And how are they going to make ends meet?
That's a good question. I mean, there are.
I mean,
There
I
is
know the
unemployment.
county,
There are federal programs that are
right.
taking place. It's going to take a long time, I believe, to get that money from Washington, D.C. to Coos County. But, yeah, it's going to be a whole.
Many people are living from paycheck to paycheck. And it's going to be really tough on those folks. I mean, the county budget is important. I understand that, but we'll deal with it when we get there. But wow, I would not want to be some of those folks that are, directly affected.
Agreed.
And I would hope that our unemployment division of the state of Oregon, or employment office, as it's technically known, would be helping. Our setup with SCDC to help the businesses is a good idea to help. I'm wondering what else we might be able to do to help people. I haven't thought of anything at the moment, but maybe somebody else has a good idea.
SEIU has stood up a great website that allows people to click on the resource they need and, actually provide. SEIU has, I'll send it to you guys.
Okay.
And we can link to it from the county's website if you like it. But it's really helpful. It allows you to apply for SNAP benefits, allows you to apply for unemployment. There's videos about how to apply for each one, how to apply for the Oregon Health Plan. They do a nice job pulling it all together in one site, which has been the problem that I've
Could we
seen.
send it to
People have
Bobby
go
to
all these
send
different
up?
sources.
Excuse me, I'm
Yep.
talking over you. I'm
Happy
sorry.
to. No, you're fine. I'll send it to her right now.
Could we send it to Bobby and have it as a press release? So it gets
Sure.
out.
Would you guys like to take a look at it first, though?
I would.
The nice part is, too,
but-
they are also translating it into Spanish, Chinese, Vietnamese, and Russian. So
Okay.
I was
Okay.
pretty
And
impressed.
so
with
when
the
we
look
meet
at it.
on Wednesday, she'll have read it and give the go-ahead or not go-ahead, huh? So that would be a topic.
And you will have
for
also
Wednesday.
read it. Sure.
Okay.
Caroline,
All right.
you have something for us?
If we have time, I just wanted to give a quick HR update. So far,
Great.
we have just 4 employees only who have filled out the leave of absence form to qualify for the paid sick time leave. As you know, that allows employees for qualifying reasons to stay home and get either 2/3 of their pay or 100% of their pay, depending on the qualifying reason. So we just have 4 actually who have signed up, 3 of whom are currently out of the office, taking advantage of that leave, and the other one who has signed up is asking for intermittent leave. Just wanted you to know. And then I've been researching the unemployment rules, and so most employees out there who have have lost their jobs do qualify for unemployment. They've relaxed the 1-week wait period, and for the next 4 months, they will also be getting an additional $600 per week from the federal government, in addition to their regular state unemployment. And state unemployment uses a calculation, but it's maxed out at about $538 per week for most people, depending on what they qualify for. So they will get that additional $600 at least for the next 4 months. And then I do get a lot of calls from people looking for DHS, maybe because they think that HR is DHS, so we may want to include DHS's phone number in any press release that we put out. I get people calling asking for SNAP and TAMP and other benefits. And I might actually go ahead and just put that on my voicemail as well, because I think sometimes people call me looking for that number. And I don't know what these employees who are currently out are going to do when they run out of the 80 hours. This is going into their second week, and once that runs out, we'll either require them to come back to work, or they can continue to stay home, either leave without pay or use their accruals.
Yeah.
Anyway, so just an update.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? I have nothing else on my list at this point.
Nat, has your new assistant county counsel quit yet?
He looks like he's thinking about running out of here right now, but he's still here, so it's a good sign.
Welcome aboard. Thank you so much.
And one more thing that I will add that just popped into my head is that regardless of need, apparently people are going to get a certain amount of money direct deposited or sent to them for a check in the mail by the federal government. And it sounds like there's, in that case, to the extent that people still have their jobs and haven't actually had any hardship, there's a very big potential pool of money that will be coming into all the counties that people can use to help those in need. So, that'll put that in every person's hands. So.
Okay.
All right. Anything else, you guys?
No.
With nothing further, we will adjourn. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Talk to you guys soon.
All right. Bye.